Okay, I would like to reconvene this council meeting. Welcome, people. Great to have you here. Welcome back, council. So our next piece is the public input session regarding shopping bag regulation bylaw number 5297, which is available online, and also the staff report. All input is most welcome. Regardless of your point of view, we would like to hear from you. We are certainly here to listen. Either general comments about the potential initiative or specific comments about the bylaw would be happily received. We have an hour, and so we'll try to allow 10 minutes or less for each person so that everybody gets a chance to speak. What I'm going to ask is I'm going to ask for you to come forward when you'd like to speak. If you have a written submission, after you share it, you're welcome to pass it to the Chief Administrative Officer, and it will go into our collection that we will consider when we're looking at the bylaw. At this time, the bylaw has received no readings, and that's why we're asking for your input, so the council would consider your input and perhaps make amendments to the bylaw before giving it any readings. So I would ask when you come forward just to give your name and your residential address for Barbara Secretary so that she can write information down. So please, if you would like to speak to us, please come forward.
Good evening. My name is Brad DeMille, and I own DeMille's Farm Market. And I have no notes, so I'm just going to wing this.
Welcome.
Thank you. As we are on the front line of using plastic bags for many years now, not only in our business, but let's say they've been incorporated in the fabric of commercial retail and different things like that, packaging products in plastic. It's difficult to wean yourself off of that in a very short period of time. And I think it's always cautious. I think it's a great direction to take because we know that this is the trend, and I think it's a good thing to do overall. The approach has to be careful because we have to be careful what we're trying to fix doesn't cause a bigger problem. Part of what we've looked at in replacing the plastic bag is a lot of people say, oh, use paper. Okay, we've tried to do paper. Paper has a tremendous carbon footprint. More so if you're looking at a per bag size, the carbon footprint, from my information, is roughly 10 times greater for a paper bag of the size of a plastic bag. And also the cost for a printed paper bag that has a logo, typical, is about 55 cents a bag. You get that wet, it is a single-use bag. You go home and put it into your recycling, whether you're putting your wet bottles or your cat litter in it, that's probably not advisable because it will end up in places that you'll need a plastic bag, or you'll go to buy a plastic bag to do those things. The bags that we're currently looking to replace the t-shirt bag that we have at the front line, the biodegradable bags are costing 28 cents a piece. That is a tremendous cost, and it's going to be paid for ultimately by the consumer. A couple stories. I had a buddy that went to Shoppers Drug Mart, didn't have any cash on him, had paid his bill, didn't recognize that I had to buy a bag, and he had to carry all his groceries out in his hands because he didn't have 5 or 10 cents to buy the bag. So you have to be careful because we have visitors coming into our area that you don't want to pee off because you have a mandate that has a great agenda to do these things. But on the other hand, you also have to be careful not to make them upset, or you're not even getting me a plastic bag and being in contravention of the bylaw. It's sort of a gray area. In our business, we buy 200,000 bags a year, t-shirt bags, of which there's a number that comes up. If you buy a certain amount of bags, your numbers drop quite a bit as far as the cost. Our cost on a t-shirt bag is roughly about 3 cents a bag, which is double from what it was 5 years ago. In order to get that price down to 3 cents, you have to buy 200,000 bags, of which, just so you know, I have 100,000 I need to use up before I get in contravention of the bylaw. And this is something that is willing to work with local government on because it just can't happen in a saw-off timeline. It has to weed these plastic things through. Another use of the plastic bag is ultimately secondary uses at home, where you're not having to buy a Glad bag to do the same job that your t-shirt bag would have done. When we look at other plastics that we use as a consumer base, a lot of the stuff that we're wrapping, and whether it's cellophane or plastic wrap, is there to protect the product in a perishable environment. Zucchini, things that are not in a mature status, organic broccolis, things like that, to denote the differences between the two. Plastic is a really convenient, very cheap way to go about things. It also creates a bacteria block. If you look what's on your basket, as you roll up every basket, your hand basket, your different things like that, even your recyclable bag that you're taking back and forth to the store multiple trips, I'll bet you go and get that thing checked. You're not going to want to eat out of that bag, or you're not going to eat out of that shopping cart. And the plastics prevent that transmission of disease and bacteria. If you had some that broke eggs, you had diapers, a kid barfed in the cart, you have no idea. And as a storekeeper, it's almost impossible to keep up to that kind of a maintenance issue. And so plastics have a reason. They also keep your consumer costs down by not having the expiration of product where it's breathing, because all produce has a respiration rate. A young zucchini, if you wrap it in plastic, it doesn't get limp. Long English cucumbers are an excellent example of that, is that you wrap it because it will expire very quickly within 2 days after it's picked if you don't wrap it in plastic. And those are reasons why you keep that cost down. That Long English cucumber is $1.39 because you don't lose any of it. You start taking that plastic wrap off it, that Long English cucumber is going to be $2.50. And so you've just instantly increased your food cost by 100% just because you're mandating a certain use. Now, we're not into that yet. A large part of what I see as far as the recycling end of things, and I've had some communication I showed to Kevin Flynn about our cardboard recycling. We recycle and bale all of our cardboard. In the last 3 months, it's gone completely backwards, being paid $5 a bale for cardboard, which costs $2.70 just for the wire to wrap it. Now they want to charge me $20 because there's no place to go to a post-consumer for the cardboard. Plastic has no skin in the game for people. They can use it as much as they want, and there's no real cost to them. Fundamentally, it's a bigger project than we can tackle, I think, from a city. It's a provincial-wide and even a Western Canada or a Canadian thing. Because you don't have any waste or no skin in the game, there's no recycling that goes back to a post-consumer. We're really poorly executed. We have no real great facilities for sending plastic anywhere. I've had an experience recently with my garbage company that we concurrently fired after this, that all our plastic recycling was being picked up by them and then mixed into the landfill, just dumped. And we fired them, moved on to a new supplier, Winkler Disposal, that I was assured that this is not going to happen. The cardboard, the wax, and the plastic was all ending up in the landfill. So all of our best intentions were great until the fact that there's no end product use. If plastic one day becomes a deposit type system, just like milk, just like cans and bottles, you have some skin in the game. You're going to take them back. Let's say I took back 100 pounds of plastic. I'm going to get a bit of a reprieve for that. There's some incentive for that. A lot of the recycling programs that are in North America, especially in BC, haven't kept up with the rate of inflation. Like a 5-cent bottle, come on, it costs. I'll guarantee that it costs probably 15 cents to recycle that bottle by the time you're done. And they haven't really adjusted since the 70s anyway, so really a bottle all should be 25 cents and let's go. And I'm going to take bottles back tomorrow. If I 4 is $1, let's go. And so if you have some skin in the game, it gives you some incentive. We're looking forward to the result of the plastic, not only banning it, but to get a solution that's a viable. Having the bags, we're creating new bags for recycling to use them, and I think it's really important that people don't fix it with a worse problem than what we have. The plastics are definitely a blight on a lot of things. Our foreshore, the ocean, lots of things, our landfill, they blow anywhere they go, and nothing really stops them. And I think if we can find a monitored approach and really take a good look at what it's costing us to replace it, because as the consumer costs, labor, gas, insurance are all transferred eventually down to the consumer, This is yet another layer of cost that ultimately is not going to be borne by me as a retailer. It has to be paid for by the public. And they're certainly not in a mood to take on any more costs, fuel costs, your insurance, all these things, ICBC, everything. It's just like every time you turn around, there's another cost of doing business. BC is not a cheap place to come to.
You got 1 minute to wrap up, Brad, because we might have questions for you.
Okay, and it's not a cheap place to come visit. BC, bring cash. It's a really simple acronym. And this is unfortunately true. Our liquor costs a lot of money. Our fuel's really expensive. And we have to be careful. We don't price ourselves out of the game here by adding yet another little insult when you come. We have to really be careful of that. So that's
appreciate that. Brad, can I just ask you? You have 100,000 bags. How long does it take you to go through 100,000 at the mills?
typically in the summer we should be through those bags by the end of summer, I would say.
So if we give a 6-month window, that would enable you to get rid of your stock.
Yeah, and I think we're not the exception, any exception to that. I think a lot of the larger ASCUs, Save-A-More, would have a similar bag stock to eat up.
Okay. Council, do you have any other questions for Brad? We really appreciate you coming forward and speaking to us. Thanks so much. You're a valuable retailer out there. Anyone else like to come forward? Now is your chance. Please do. Yeah, however you want to do it. If you want to do it as a duet, that's fine too.
Yeah, because we're delivering the same
Yes,
message.
please just let Barb know your name, residential address.
David Askew, 111 Lakeshore Drive, Salmon Arm.
Welcome, David.
And Dave Wallace.
Dave Wallace, 3850 Wood Avenue, Armstrong, Operations Manager, Askew's Foods.
Thank you.
Well, we're solidly behind the move to try to improve on the effective use of packaging materials, and certainly during my lifetime I've seen big changes in moving from reusable packaging to disposable packaging. And my uncle David tells this story. When he was a teenager, his father had him make a delivery up Merton Hill there. And his dad said, "Make sure you bring the box back." So David was careful, and David was a real speed freak. So he went up on his bicycle with this box, and then he folded it up, he put it on the handlebars, and he headed off down the hill. As soon as he started down the hill, the flap flew up over in front of him, so he was peeling down Merton Hill, and he couldn't see a thing. But he was a survivor, so he did okay. But that was how seriously recycling was back in those days, when you really had to count every penny. And now we've moved into a whole different league, and now we're finding out that was a mistake, and we need to go back, as I say, back to the future, and take another look at what we're doing. So we have been working for years on using reusable bags. We've been producing an Askew's bag for quite a few years now, and that has been somewhat successful. However, we are still using many, many new bags every year. And I think Dave can tell you a bit about the impact of beginning to charge for the bags, because that's created a reduction in use. And of course now we're looking at meeting up with what the city is planning to do through the continued use of selling our own bag for $2. That's a reusable bag. And then figuring out, well, with the option of selling a paper bag or whatever, and then maybe there may be other ideas that we might have for trying to help people who arrive without a bag. One of them would be to maybe ask people who have, like I do, many reusable bags in their cupboard that they've forgotten to bring and bought another one, to put them in a bin or something, so that those who arrive at the store without a bag can take one. but there may be some issues there too with the health people and so on about that. But we're hoping that, as we try to move into a different future, all of us will have to change somewhat. So I'll ask Dave if he wanted to say a few words.
Thank you, David.
Yeah, not too much more to add. I don't know if we get 20 minutes or 10 total here.
Don't feel like you have to fill it.
Yeah, since we started charging for bags, we've actually dropped our usage by about 50% at Askew. So it does work as far as eliminating a T-shirt bag for someone coming through the valley. I would agree with Brad DeMille there, where it would be nice to offer them something so they're not walking out of the store like this or saying, forget it, I'm not shopping in Salmon Arm, I'm going to the next town. There is a compostable bag that is available for us to use that you can literally take and throw in your garden when you're done. So it's more of a question as to would that be allowed in your new bylaw, is a compostable bag. It would be about 11, 12 cents cost, to us. And we would, of course, pass that on to the consumer too.
Appreciate the question, Dave. And certainly today we're taking input. In the present draft bylaw, it's not allowed, but we're listening to what people say today.
Yeah, and that one we've done a research. It's been accepted in many cities in California, which have some of the strictest, recycling laws too. So that's just mainly my comments. It would be nice to offer those customers coming through town, an alternative to buying a $2 reusable Askew's bag if they haven't packed up their own bag. But as far as the initiative, I applaud it. I think it's great step forward. Thank you.
Thank you very much. We appreciate you coming forward. Other people who would like to speak, please step up. You don't have to be a grocery store owner to speak here.
You also don't have to be a speaker, I hope.
No, absolutely not. Please come forward.
Okay, I'll come dressed with like my finery. There. For illustration purposes only. I'm Liz Ann Monroe Lamar, 35-335 10th Avenue Northeast in Salmon Arm. I'm also, I'm the Smile People Dental Hygiene Clinic. I'm also the Smile Mission Oral Health Outreach Society, which aims to lower barriers to access to dental care. And fundraising for dentists is a stinking hard job to do. So a bunch of girls and I got together and we made all these wonderful bags from stuff that we got from various churches' thrift store. And everything is clean and done, and we thought we could set up stands for people who need to put their potatoes in something. And yeah, I don't know how effective this is to make this by donation, we're all volunteering. But I was inspired by the work of Bojan Slat. Bojan is a kid in Holland who went diving in Greece when he was 15, and he had more plastic in the water than fish, and he decided that he was going to work on anything to get all this plastic out of the water. And here he is, he's 21 now, he's got this massive thing, he's got a whole nonprofit company, there's researchers, they're doing it, and it's at the moment in the Great Pacific Garbage Dump catching the water. They have so much data on plastic, on animals, on whales that are it's not a question of if. We've got to get on this, right? You cannot keep on producing a material that does not go away and talk about cost and skin in the game. I mean, my kids are going to be paying for this. The plastic's going to be everywhere. So I don't know. I think I'm really proud to live in Salmon Arm, where we're openly proposing to ban plastic grocery bags. We might do some advertising that, massages people's sense of entitlement a bit. I love what Askew's does. They have such beautiful bags that you're really, really proud to walk around with. We could, when was it so necessary for everything to be supplied for us? I mean, you could always roll up your t-shirt and put stuff in it. Yeah, I don't know what else to say. This is me. And if anybody wants to order a whole bunch of beautiful fabric bags for their stores, I'm here.
Thank you very much, and it's nice when people come forward with a solution. So really appreciate your presentation. Anyone else like to come forward? Don't be shy. I'm sure you're not all here to listen to the other people. So come on up.
Hi, my name is Linda Thompson. With my husband Jamie, we own Remarket, etc. on 121 Hudson.
Welcome, Linda.
We're in favor of this. We think it's a great idea. A big part of our store is based on recycling. We sell a paint. People encourage people to take old furniture, redo it. So we're in favor of it. As a store owner, we've been in business a year and a half. We probably use 85% paper, and they meet the guidelines that in your proposed budget. We do have some kind of plastic, a few with handles, mostly for people because our clientele is everyone from 18 to 85. And you get an older person that's parked down Ross Street, by the time they've done that hike, they don't want to be carrying a paper bag like this. So we do have some with handles. So I guess our issue right now, reading the proposed budget or bylaw, is being told as a retailer we have to charge. We haven't charged our customers in a year and a half. I don't want to start charging them, not local people, especially not tourists. So that's one thing we have a big issue with, is being told how we have to recoup it, because we just build it into our cost of doing business. The other concern is, it was mentioned, a separate key on our till. That's programming costs, that's bookkeeping costs. So we're really, I think in the end, not recouping any costs. I think going by how the bylaw states right now, it will actually cost us money as a retailer. So we're in favor of it. We brought in some mesh bags through one of our wholesalers a little while ago and sold out instantly. We've got another huge batch coming in, and we've got a big sign, get ready for the bylaw. We've shared all this information on our Facebook page for our customers. We talk about it with them. We're kind of mentoring a young gal that's doing similar bags like this right now, and gonna see if we can have them in the store for sale or find somebody else that will make them. So we're in favor of it, but we don't like how, you know, it reads right now, that we have to charge, and this is what we have to charge, and this is how we have to do it. So.
Understand. Council, do you have any questions for Linda? Okay, thank you very much for coming and presenting to us. We appreciate it. Others who would like to come forward? This is your chance.
I forgot to say something.
Okay, we'll just see if there's other, I think there's others out there who may would like to come forward, because I see people with paper. Please don't be shy. We have about 35 minutes. Okay, it's your chance to come say a second thing.
Also very inspiring, and I don't have the exact title, but you have to basically Google something that says Marketplace getting rid of plastic bags in England, and you'll find it. But there's a TV show that somebody did on how to get rid of plastic bags, yada yada, and the interview with a store in England where they did just that. And that's why I started sewing those things, because it wasn't just about the carry-out bags. It was also about all the stuff that comes into the store that's now covered in plastic, and how they managed to do it. And that would be really inspiring. That's it.
Thank you. Okay, I'm going to give everyone one more chance to come forward if they wish to present to us. Otherwise, I'm going to recess this meeting until 7 o'clock. So, Council, do you have anything you'd like to add? Councillor Flynn?
I just had a question for Mr. DeMille that came to mind after hearing others. Sorry to put you on the spot, Brad, but you're not against a ban. For you, it's more about timing and whether it should be provincial versus local, or whether we should be allowed to have recyclable plastic, or you want time to implement this?
Brad, can I ask you to come to the mic, because then the audience can hear your answer?
Well, I think for us, it's eating up the current supply, because it would be nothing like having 50,000 bags we're not allowed to use. It'd be kind of, that would be very friendly bylaw now, would it? And I think that this gives us enough distance in the future to see this coming, and we've seen it coming for a while, and we keep it as close as we can, because it's not fun paying for 200,000 bags up front, half up front, then half upon delivery. It's a lot of cost. And it's, again, one of the things, as we've charged our 5 cents for bags, because it's funny that as you get charged for bags, there's actually better margin in charging for bags than you made on your produce. When you're paying for 10 cents, you're actually making 125% on a bag, as opposed to, your 40 points on produce, which is kind of, it's a better business selling you a plastic bag than it was in the original business plan. It's kind of insane. That's why we've always gone just kind of a cost basis on it. I would say that it's a great way to start in town. And I think recyclable bags, we have our own also similar to Askew's. And it's an important thing as you curtail the use by charging, it does impact it. There's absolutely no doubt about it. People bringing back a lot of their old plastic bags. You can get multiple uses out of those things all day long. And I would say that we just keep moving forward with it and implement it, because people will get used to it, and they have to, because it's the future. And I think there's no way to deny it's coming.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, Council, maybe people want to think about it a bit more, but while they're doing that, I'd like you to turn just to the last page under that tab 20. I know that you've seen this, page 267, if you don't mind going there. And maybe if we can go there on the screen as well. Okay, there we are. So, Council, this is, I shared this information with you previously, but perhaps we'll deal with it now. And I will read it out loud just so that the audience is aware as well. So, at the April 8th Council meeting, I communicated I was looking into including one reusable grocery bag per household with our rollout of recycling bin and 2 organic collection containers. As Council knows, we are starting street side composting July the 1st. I see an opportunity here to both help households get started in the habit of shopping with reusable bags and also communicating our new branding project with the residents of Salmon Arm. In our sanitation and recycling budget, we presently have $750,000. We're purchasing the bins and containers from this budget at a cost of $391,000. There's also a small deficit being funded for the 2019 year. The remaining balance will be $304,000. My proposal is we fund the cost of the reusable bags from this budget. The estimated cost would be $15,000, which would leave a balance of $289,116 in that account. What that would enable would be that each household in Salmon Arm would receive one reusable bag, much like the ones we've heard about at DeMille's or at Askew's, that will be branded with the Salmon Arm brand, Small City, Big Ideas, and our word mark. I see Lana Fitt is in the audience, and Lana and I and our administrator have had a conversation. Economic Development is interested in partnering in this project with possible partial monies to help promote our new brand. They see this as an opportunity, as a great way to carry our message to the residents of Salmon Arm. So my motion that I would like to make now is Council approve the purchase and distribution of 8,000 reusable bags with the Salmon Arm brand to a maximum of $15,000 funded from solid waste recycling services, and that staff be directed, should be, rather than lobby, communicate with the Salmon Arm Economic Society to provide funding and enter into a cost-sharing agreement for the purchase of 8,000 reusable bags. Is there someone who would like to second that motion? Councillor Lindgren. So I'll just speak to the motion briefly. First of all, as I said to the gallery, we have not passed any motions related to the draft bylaw. And the draft bylaw may not pass. It depends on council and what they decide. Council, the reason I bring this forward now is because we need lead time in order to have these bags in time for a potential bylaw. And even then we may not hit it dead on. But what a great opportunity, even if the bylaw doesn't pass, to have one reusable bag with Salmon Arm brand, with information, a little card or something about our brand and about reusable bags, go to every house in Salmon Arm. Can you imagine you go shopping and you're downtown and people are carrying that bag? So it would be a great advertisement for us. In fact, you could even give them as Christmas gifts to people from out of town, so we wouldn't have this problem of our tourists coming without a bag. So that is my thoughts behind it. I think it's an opportunity. It's an education opportunity, and I would welcome any comments from council before asking to vote on it. Councillor Flynn.
Just for clarification, probably more procedurally, sorry. I guess you didn't want my question.
Oh, I'm sorry, Councillor Flynn. Go ahead.
Thanks. Are we in a council meeting right now?
We are.
Are we? Okay, I thought we were in an informal input session. Okay, just clarification on the second end that. So you're asking council to ask staff to order 8,000 bags and spend 15,000, and it's quite clear where the funds are coming from, and I'm very much in support of that, regardless of what happens with a bylaw. And then the end that, and I agree to lobby shouldn't be how it's worded, but that staff, the city work with the EDS to ask them to provide funding to purchase an additional 8,000 bags?
Thank you for the clarification there. So obviously that is not that clear. No, the Economic Development Society's participation would be a money participation, say maybe $2,500. That would allow us to spend less than $15,000. So they would be a partner in this project, and the intention would be that they would actually take on the proposal of the printing of the bags and any branding information that would be contained in the bags, because they are the experts. So I didn't explain that very well. I don't know, Lana, did you want to come down and say anything that would make this clear? Sorry for putting you on the spot.
No problem.
She's used to us doing that.
No problem. Thank you. I guess just a quick little piece we would add is just EDS in year one, our launch phase of the marketing strat for the Small City Big Ideas, has a big focus on engagement with local residents. So we do see this as a great opportunity to get information into the hands of every single home in Salmon Arm. So it is a good fit for us from that perspective. We're really keen to be able to provide an information package, something small, postcard size, something like that, with our brand story, to tell a little bit more about the background, what the process was, what were the outcomes, and what the brand means, and also how residents can utilize the brand themselves and help us tell the story. So we do see a nice partnership there with the city, achieving two goals in a cost share formula for sure.
Thank you, Lana. Is there any questions for Lana? That probably helps clarify things.
It does somewhat clarify. Personally, I think we should put our 15,000 in and buy as many bags as we can, and then EDS spends their money on the message that's going in the bags, and they can determine how much to spend. I would see there's significant value in this from a lot of the community doesn't know about our brand, a lot of the community doesn't know the story, and I think that combination of the opportunities, I have no problem with 15,000 coming from that fund to make the 8,000 bags happen, and have EDS being one of the board members and knowing how strained their dollars are, spending their money on the story and the postcard and all of that. And maybe some additional bags for just giving out promotion.
Fair enough.
So I guess I'm in favor of the motion, but don't really need them to cost share personally.
Okay. Councillor Canada, do you have questions for Lana or just comments?
Just a comment that I agree that we should, the 15,000 and however many bags we can buy, like above and beyond the, is it 8,000 that you had on there?
That's right.
Yeah, because there's probably like a mark of X amount for, you know, not that we're gonna buy like 200,000 like Brad's bags, but yeah.
So what I hear you saying is that if EDS was able to put in, say, 2,000 just for that amount, that we would get the maximum number of bags with the information.
Yeah, that's what I think we should do.
Okay, I understand. Okay, Councillor Walsh, Richmond.
Thanks, Your Worship. One question. So if getting, so I think we have 7,200 households, or probably closer to 8 now. Getting bags to households would be very expensive. But this is a unique opportunity because we're already delivering a bin. Is that right?
Yeah, I can talk to you a little bit about the delivery if you would like. First of all, nothing is cemented in place yet, and a plan is still in place, or still being built. But the one challenge we have is we're not sure that we can meet the distribution of bins timeline, because we're thinking distribution of bins is going to start around in early May. Is that right, Chief Administrative Officer? Yep. Okay, and the way that's going to be done is it's going to be done by students door to door, is the plan. The bags will probably not be ready by that time. So, as far as the bins go, it's a great opportunity. Okay. It's a great way to do it because there's an education piece there. Our plan for the bags would be there's going to be some revisitation by the student to households once the street side composting is started over the course of the summer. That would give the student an opportunity to distribute the reusable bag at that time. And rather than confuse it with the bins, it may be an opportunity to educate them as well. We would see how that goes. If we were not able to distribute to every house, we would distribute them from City Hall on an honor system. So if you got one in Canoe and you really wanted a second and came and got it, we would be just fine with it. But otherwise you would wait, and me who lives in Hillcrest who didn't get one would come down and pick mine up. That is the rough plan. So a personal to delivery.
Okay. Thanks, Your Worship. I mean, it is a once in a term, maybe in a decade opportunity to touch every single household with a physical thing or a visit from a student. So if we have that opportunity to add this layer of value on top of that, I'm very supportive, and I would hope that we could indeed get more than enough bags with the budget and keep them for things like hockey tournaments, swag bags, conferences. It's a very good tool, and I look forward to seeing how it all plays out. Thank you.
Okay, thank you, Councillor Walsh Richmond. And if the bags are half as popular as the shirts, we'd have no trouble giving them away. Councillor Lindgren.
Thank you. So I'm in favor of this motion as well. I think that if David goes ahead with collecting bags at the store, because I have at least 20 of them in the back of my car, I'll now have an extra one when I get this one delivered, so I could bring an Askews one back to Askews and you could give it away again. So one question that I do have, though, is I know there were concerns from people about will we all go out and buy kitchen catchers now to line our bags? And so I wanted to know, when the recycling bins go out, if our garbage is clean in the sense that all the food has gone into the waste or the compost bin and been taken out to the road, will we still need a bag in our garbage can, or can we just put the garbage in?
I do know the answer to that question. I still want to get the motion confused.
Okay.
Can I wait and answer? Okay. Councillor Lavery, did you want to speak to the motion?
I do.
Okay, thank you, and then we'll come back to Councillor Lindgren's question.
And just for clarification then, so we have a first and seconder for this motion here?
Thank you.
No, we do have that, yeah. I'm just trying to, so I support it, I support the intent and the navigation of this. I just want to make it straightforward and simple though, and I really appreciate us trying to cost share with other stakeholders. In fact, we often are asking for that, and I know that's the intent of this motion. I just want to say at this stage right now, I'd be absolutely fine with the first half of that motion that says 8,000 reusable bags from the fund of $15,000 that we have, and that staff coordinate with EDS to provide branding information. And I'm not so we have a motion there. So I guess maybe I would propose that as an amendment and see where it goes.
So you're basically combining the two together and taking out the funding piece from EDS?
Yes.
Okay, well, I'm comfortable with that as a mover of the motion. Councillor Lindgren, how do you feel about it? You're the seconder.
Yeah, I'm comfortable with that.
Okay. Can we accept that as a friendly amendment?
Yes.
Okay, thank you.
And speaking to the, well, I guess we have to vote on, that's a friendly,
you can
okay,
speak,
thing.
yeah.
And speaking to it, I think that more bags would be good, but I think 8,000 are going to do us at this stage. And I think it's just time that we move on. And I do believe that I really appreciate EDS's contribution and potential offer here. Their budgets are very skinny, and I think that we can do this on our own.
Okay, and I appreciate that, Councillor Lavery, and when you say on your own, you mean money-wise, because I think having EDS involved in the branding piece and the, because they're working on branding of bags with other groups, and so we want them involved with everything from the branding through the procurement process, and so that's why it's important to have them in the motion. Councillor Flynn.
Thank you, Worship. Now I can vote wholeheartedly in support of the motion.
Press that button again.
Do that to me. It's almost like you don't want me
Okay,
to talk.
Councillor Flynn, go ahead.
Thank you, Your Worship. I will wholeheartedly support the motion now. And I think that was basically your intent. And you were hoping to get support. I know EDS, as our rep on the board, is working on branding, and it's a significant part of what they're planning to do in this year's work plan. And I hope that they will find some money to buy some more bags. And we will get other people supporting the branding initiative and having access to the bags. So I will vote in favor, and it certainly doesn't mean I will be supporting any future bylaw until I know more about it.
Fair enough. Councillor Cannon, would you press your button again? Thank you, Councillor Cannon.
So I just want clarification of the motion.
Okay. Would you like it read?
Sure.
Okay, could I have the Chief Administrative Officer read the motion, please?
I'm not sure if I have it correct, Your Worship.
Okay.
It's not just me.
Councillor Lavery will let you know.
So it was moved by Mayor Harrison, seconded by Councillor Lindgren, that Council approve the purchase and distribution of 8,000 reusable bags with the Salmon Arm brand to a maximum of $15,000, funded from Solid Waste Recycling Services, and that staff be directed to coordinate with the Salmon Arm Economic Development Society to provide funding and enter into a cost-sharing agreement for the purchase of 8,000 reusable bags.
So I would say after Economic Development Society, just put a period and cross the rest out. And then could you just read it for us one more time, just so we make sure we got it right?
From the top,
Yes, please.
moved by Mayor Harrison, seconded by Councillor Lindgren, that Council approve the purchase and distribution of 8,000 reusable bags with the Salmon Arm brand to a maximum of $15,000, funded from Solid Waste Recycling Services, and that staff be directed to coordinate with Salmon Arm Economic Development Society.
Councillor Lavery, is that?
If it's this table, I would suggest that we
Councillor Lavery?
my mic's been turned off before, to lobby Salmon Arm Economic Development Society to provide branding information.
Okay. Councillor Cannon, Councillor Cannon, go ahead.
So my thoughts are that if we can buy more than 8,000 depending on the cutoff of the amounts, because usually when you buy something like that, it's in 10, 20, 50, 100 in those lots. So that's why earlier I said if we can buy more than 8,000, I would like to see us buy more than 8,000, because I would think 8,000 isn't probably one of those marks for when you buy marketing like stuff like this.
So Councillor Cannon, if we ask staff and economic development to come back to us if there's a price point that made a difference.
Because I would like to see us buy more than 8,000 personally.
And with $15,000, perhaps they can. So I'm sure they will report back to us.
So in the motion, we have 8,000, so that's why.
So would you like to remove the 8,000 number?
Yeah, I think we should see how many we can buy. Yeah.
It could say council approved the purchase and distribution of reusable bags with the Salmon Arm brand to a maximum of $15,000 funded from solid waste recycling services, and staff be directed to coordinate with the Salmon Arm Economic Development Society to provide branding information.
And then if they come back and we can only buy 5,000 with that, we'll deal with it then. No, I'm just joking.
Councillor Lindgren, how are you feeling about that?
That sounds great.
Okay. All right. We'll make that friendly amendment.
Okay, thanks.
Okay, thank you, Councillor Cannon. Councillor Flynn.
I was just gonna say take lobby out and coordinate, because that was what Tim originally said, and then somehow lobby got back in there, but
Okay, we've got coordinating.
I'll be our lobbyist.
Okay. Council, is there any further discussion on the motion? Okay, seeing none, all those in favor? Passes unanimously. Thank you. I would give members of the audience, we have about 10 minutes. Is there anyone that did not get a chance to speak that now feels like they would like to come forward? Okay, seeing none, we will take a short recess of 10 minutes before we start our public hearings. Thank you, Council.
Could we just emphasize that people can still send in correspondence?
Yeah, Councillor Lavery has made a good note. If you didn't get an opportunity and you would like to provide input, it's certainly welcome, either written or on our website, either way.
Can you sign it up here?
Sure. Right up here?
Yeah, well, at the top.